Well, thank you very much, and thank you very much, Robert Jan. It's very good to be, when you bolster our self-confidence in the way that you do. We sometimes need that as well. EU research programs are extremely important for Sweden, has been for a long time, are today, and we hope that they will be also in the future. EU research framework programs is the third largest financer of research in Sweden. And that, of course, in itself is important. Money is important for research. But besides the funding, the framework programs also have given access to networks and had positive effect on quality of knowledge transfer, mobility, innovation, and commercialization. So the framework programs are important. But of course, we have also, as we have heard, been successful from Sweden when it comes to participating and to get resources back through the framework programs. But historical success is, of course, no guarantee for the future. And the new program, Horizon 2020, in important aspects differ from the earlier framework programs. We have heard also that. The content and then components of Horizon 2020 creates at least partly a new game. And I think that it is important that we are aware of that. That, for example, the actors, whether it's academia, it's business, public authorities, civil society, needs to be better prepared in the new program, and they must be prepared to cooperate. It is not a program where you could apply for funding on an individual basis. Cooperation will be extremely important and a prerequisite in large part of the new program. That means, for example, that it is important for academia and industry to work even closer together in order to be successful in Horizon 2020. I also think that we have to be aware that competition with all likelihood will be even greater in the new program. Sweden is devoting more resources to research, but we are relatively alone in Europe with that. In many countries, research funding is becoming scarce. And that means that there will be an increased pressure in many countries for researchers that find it difficult to get funding within their own systems to turn to the European Union for funding. There will be a huge competition for the funding, even taking into account that there is additional funding in the new program compared to FP7. That means that we have advantages in Sweden, but there are also challenges. This new program has, you could say, perhaps even a Swedish profile, as we have heard, and I think that you didn't exaggerate. Sweden did succeed when it comes to influencing the new program. There is much of a Swedish profile. Many of the important basic aspects in the new Horizon 2020 are very similar to the principles that we have had in the last two research and innovation bills. That means that this is a program that is directed very much towards the Swedish way of thinking about research and innovation. We must see this as an advantage and take and use that advantage. And of course, as we heard, the framework programs has been international. The new Horizon 20 will be even more so. International, of course, when it comes to cooperation within Europe, but also international in the way that it is a great advantage. It's a purpose of the new Horizon 2020 for also introducing much on a much higher level cooperation also outside Europe. Swedish research and innovation, Swedish companies are international to a high degree. We must use that as an advantage also in Horizon 2020. We have a good background when it also comes to what is much more clear in the new program, and that is research and innovation. Sweden is at the head, as we heard, in several of the innovation scoreboards that are presented every year. And once again, this last two research bill has been bills on research and innovation, precisely the same way of thinking as the Horizon 2020 is based on. We also heard that simplification is a main theme in Horizon 2020. If there has been one thing that has made that Swedish researchers, and not least Swedish companies, have abstained from participating in the framework programs, it has been that they have been too administrative complicated. Therefore, the simplification that is a basis in the new program is extremely important as an advantage to increase Swedish participation even further. But of course, there are also challenges in the new program. We heard the importance of the European Research Council. Our feeling is that we are doing relatively well when it comes to European Research Council. We could be and should be doing even better, especially when it comes to younger researchers. It is important, not least from all of you that comes from universities, that really encourage the best of your younger researchers to apply and participate in the European Research Council's applications. A big challenge, of course, is also that Swedish industry are not participating to the level that there is potential for participation. It has been primarily the universities in Sweden that has been most successful. There is definitely a potential for increasing participation from Swedish industry, both the large but also smaller and medium-sized enterprises. The public sector could also increase their participation, as well as civil organizations. I think that this is important to underline also for all of you that represent both industry and civil organizations, public sector, to use the new support system that VINNOVA and the Research Council has set up and are running. VINNOVA are there for you. Use them. Of course, there is also the possibility for participating in the partnership programs. I want to underline that we have increased also the Swedish funding through VINNOVA for participating in the partnership programs. That is important. So the purpose of this conference is really to underline the importance of Horizon 2020. It is a big financer for Swedish research and innovation. It is important to underline that using it also for even more enhancing quality, excellence, and international participation. I really hope that this conference will be seen as the starting point for a very intensive Swedish participation in Horizon 2020. Thank you.